Hi guys, TerraCotta here. Today we're going to be painting some coneflowers and butterflies with acrylic Alla Prima style. And Alla Prima means painting wet into wet, which means we have to paint really quickly. And we're going to do this entire painting in 1 hour. Only 1 hour, no speed ups. We can do this. Okay, so let me tell you a little bit about what we're going to be painting. This is the inspiration behind the picture, okay? And so we're going to have a butterfly on an echinacea. I like this color of a butterfly, and I flipped the picture, and this is my concept of what we're going to be painting. I will have a traceable for you linked below so that if you don't feel comfortable, just painting Alla Prima style totally without a traceable, you can have that. Okay, so that's linked below. Let's begin. We have 1 hour and the clock is already ticking. So you guys can see that I have 6 colors and then I have 3 brushes. Now I already have the 6 colors laid out. The secret for painting Alla Prima is to use a big brush. So we're going to be using a big brush for most of it. I do have a rather small, this is a size 4 Princeton Catalyst. It's a filbert, beautiful filbert because you can get rounded corners. I love the filberts. And then we have a script liner. And this isn't a fine script liner, but it's pretty fine. We can do like the butterfly's antenna legs or whatever with this one. So this is going to be our detail brush. This is all we have. This is what we have. Let's begin painting. And guys, in the past, I've been noticing that my background or what I'm painting is a little fuzzy, and so I'm not going to be holding the palette, I'm going to be holding the canvas so that when I'm painting, the camera will stay focused on the canvas and not on my palette. Okay, so let us begin. We're going to have to begin with a wide brush. I'm going to get this, going to get that dipped into the water. 3/4 and just tap off the excess water, and I'm going to put a little bit of water on our canvas just to kind of put a little moisture there so that our paints will flow more easily across. I'm not getting it wet, I'm just getting it a little bit damp. Now that I have some slickness down on the canvas, I'm going to take my white, I'm going to start up in the upper left hand corner and just put down some white. I don't have gesso on my canvas, and so I need to put in a little bit of paint into like the tooth or the canvas structure. So yeah, so now I have a little bit of white, and now I can start dropping in my other colors. Now my butterfly is going to be here. I'm going to have an echinacea flower here, so I'm going to grab some of the pink for some of that background behind that echinacea flower. Okay, and that's good for me. I'm going to bring in a little bit of white on the top, streak that down. Okay, so then I have the echinacea flower, and I like this white up in this corner. And if I don't get perfectly, oh, I like that streak. Okay, we're going to leave it like that. So now we're going to have our butterfly here, so I'm going to bring in some blues. Yep. Okay, and then and I want this to taper off, and I want this upper corner to be white, so I'm going to just kind of wipe that off and bring in some more white at the top and bring those colors down. I'm cool with that. I have a streak there, no problem. So now at the very bottom, I'm going to have some greens coming up, so I'll just put in a little bit of the yellow first. You can see that I'm already getting some greens with that blue that was there. And now I'm going to grab in, like I said, we're going to be mixing our colors somewhat on the canvas. So that's going to be a leaf, possibly, that comes up. And this time I'm going to blend my greens, just because this is a little bit weird. just getting different structures. Now most of this is going to be covered, so we don't really care so much about yeah, I think that's good. Now I need a little bit of a darker green here at the bottom. And just putting in some darker greens. And you know, I'm pretty happy with that. And I think I'll get a little bit more and make this bottom corner somewhat, maybe a lemony green. Yeah. Okay, there is my background. Okay, so I'm really happy with that. Now what I'm going to do is rinse my brush out. And I'm going to have to do a little bit more than that. I'm going to leave it dirty brush. I don't really have pulling my fibers out of my old nasty brush. Oh my goodness, I'm going to lose my brush soon. Okay, so this is good. So now what we're going to be doing is taking our filbert brush. I think we're finished with this, with our larger brush. So now we're going to take our filbert, and I get it wet, and I have a little bit of white on it, and so I'm going to figure out where my my butterfly is going to be. So I'm going to start in the middle. So my butterfly will come down here. This is going to be, maybe this is the shape of those wings. I like that. I'm not painting, I'm just getting the idea now, because once I get the idea, then I'll paint it. And then, getting a little white, and I think my other wing is going to come out here. I like that. And then the body will be like that. Good. Then, getting my brush damp again, I'm going to have my echinacea plant. I need a gap, a bit of a gap. So my echinacea bulb is going to be right here. And then I'm going to have some kind of petals like that. Then just getting my brush wet, just so it plays and interacts with the colors on the canvas. I think I'm going to have my wing come over here, so I have a little bit of a overlap. My butterfly body is going to be here, I think, and then this body is going to come over here. Now this has to be kind of pointed. So here's the body, and I think I'll bring this over a little bit. So yeah, this is going to be my wing. So this is the body, so the point will come over a little bit. Okay, yeah, there we go. Okay, so getting my brush damp again. I don't want a lot of water, that's why I wipe it on the canvas here, on the palette. So now I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to get the other, and I don't want to have it overlapping this way, so I want kind of between. Maybe here's the body of the butterfly, and maybe it's going to go off the canvas. Yeah, maybe it will. And then this will come down. Here's the butterfly, so it's going to, these are the peaks underneath. There we go. Cool. So this butterfly is a little bit smaller than the other one. Okay, so now I was going to have 3 echinacea, but I guess I'm only going to have 2 now. I was going to have another one here. So my other echinacea will be right here. It's going to be the bulb. And then the flowers are going to come down like this. And the flowers are going to be behind that butterfly. So this butterfly, no, I guess it can be in front of this butterfly because this butterfly is going to be the one that's on the top. That means we have to paint this one first. Okay, let's begin painting. So when we begin painting, we're just going to block in with white all of the butterfly, just because we want to put down some nice white underneath so that we can put the blue, and the blue will have like texture in with that white. So that's what my butterfly is going to look like. And this is going to be the second wing. And now, come over here, grab some blue. I'm going to do this back wing first. So and I think I'll grab a little bit more blue. So I like these lines that are creating. And I'm going to grab a little more blue for the tip of that. Oh, I just messed it up. One more time. Bring that down. The blue has to go to that point. Okay, got that down. Now this one, that's a lighter color, it's further in the distance. This next one has to be brighter, so I'm going to grab a lot more blue. I'm going to get right on the end. Pull that blue down. And I didn't get much blue because of my white background, that it's very wet. So we'll pop those colors in a bit. So I'm going to put that blue down and bring it to this point. Again. Okay, so that's that top wing. Now the bottom wing, I'm going to start and then push it towards that point again. And I've kind of moved my brush a little bit. I didn't really mean to do that, but I like the effect. I'm going to grab that one more time. I'm going to get a bead of blue on the left side of mine and bring that blue right up to that point. There we go. That is our butterfly. So now let's do the second one, and I'm going to wipe off the excess on a towel. And now I don't have a lot of excess on my brush, so I have the white, and I'm just going to paint the background. I don't need a lot of paint, but I do need a little bit. Remember, we're painting Alla Prima, so if you put too much paint in, you're not going to get a lot of blue on top of it. So we do want to have a little bit of slippery color and that white underneath, just because we'll get really cool transitions, but we don't want to have too much paint down. Okay, so this one's going to be a little bit harder to pull in because we'll blob up a lot of paint there. So this time I think I'm going to start at the inside. I'm going to start at the bottom, and I'm going to come up. So this is my point where I'm meeting everything at. So, and I'm just going to follow the edge each time. like that twist. And this time I'm going to pull it in the opposite direction. Oh, I think I'm going to start at the top and pull it in the opposite direction. That way I can leave a bead at the top. Yes, I like that. This one's going to be picky. And I need to have a transition bit. Maybe that's okay. That's weird. It looks kind of sloppy right there. Okay, I guess that's okay. A little trouble with that one. Oh my goodness. I think I'm gonna pop in a little bit of brighter blue at the bottom, just to pop those colors. I don't know if I can get that top one. My time is ticking. I have to move on to the next one. Okay, I guess that's good enough. Looks a little bit sloppy. Okay, I guess I'll move on. So now I'm going to come to the top and move to that point. And I have, oh, I didn't put the white paint down. That's why it looks a little bit awkward. I guess I'll grab in a little white. And blue with a touch of white. Blue with a touch of white. Blue with, again, a touch of white. Yes. Now that's okay. This is lighter, so I'm going to put my darker on top. That will be perfect. So this time I'm going to wipe off all of this paint. I don't want the excess. Wiping it, wiping it, wiping it, rinsing it, and then wiping it a little bit more. And now, one more time I'll wipe it. Grabbing some white, I'm just going to paint wherever that wing is going to be, and that wing is going to be on top of the other one. Okay, got a little bit of white down. I know where I'm going to be painting. I'm going to go ahead and paint this side too. And that will fill in the canvas. It'll make it smooth, so when I put the blue, it will go down really nicely. Okay, so while I can paint wet into wet, I'm going to grab a lot of blue and start at the bottom and meet at that point. A lot of blue, start here at the end and go into that point. Again, a lot of blue. And I'm twisting it a little bit just so I have a little bit of personality in that wing. And now I'm going to start at the top. And I'm going to move down. Again, move down. I want a really dark color because this is going to be the top wing on that next one down. That's cool. Okay, so now let's start at the bottom. I have a lot of paint on my little brush. Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm really caking that in. Oh, bringing that in. Again, grabbing that, starting to twist it in. The reason I tap in fresh paint each time is I get a darker color. Okay, so this time I'm going to start at the top. Now I want to grab the brightest, darkest blue. Yeah, so I get that transition. Grab the brightest blue right on the tip. Grab it again. Now, one more swipe. Yay! My little butterfly is done. Okay, so we've got our butterflies done. That is so cool. Now, let's paint our little echinacea bulbs. And I'm just going to take that dirty brush, wring it out. You can see I have a lot of white in it. Yeah, I'm going to wring that out and mix in some of that quin magenta. Now you can see I'm getting a purple. And I wanted a darker purple, so I'm going to grab a little more blue. Yeah, that's good. But I want a dark, dirty purple, so I'm going to grab in a little yellow. And that's 2 greens, so that means I have to add, if it's too green, add in a little bit of the quin magenta. And this is a little bit of a green brown. I'm add just a little more blue. And that's getting pretty muddy. Good. So this muddy color is what I'm going to paint for that undercolor for that echinacea bulb or the coneflower bulb. And the reason you want an undercolor that's dull is you're going to pop it with other color. So that's really kind of a gross color. That's okay, because you need a dull color underneath. I do want it a little darker, but anyway, we'll darken it up. Okay, so that's, I'm going to add a little bit of black just in some areas. That's just texture. Okay, and now I'm going to grab in a little bit of that quin magenta, and that's going to pop some of that color, but it's going to be muted because everything is wet. Alla Prima, and that's just going to add a little bit more color to our echinacea bulb. We're going to add more color, so don't worry. I just don't want it too bright there. Okay, now I'm going to grab in my yellow, and right on the edge, I'm going to add the top, I'm going to add a little bit of that yellow. And here also at the top, I'm going to add in a little of that yellow. And that looks really beautiful against, look, we have yellow in our atmosphere and that green. That looks really, really nice. Just at the top. And I think I'm going to add texture. Ah, yeah, that's better. Okay. Cool. Now what are we going to do? We need to start painting our petals. So I know it looks really ugly right now. Trust me, it will brighten up and look really gorgeous in a bit. So I'm going to grab in some of this quin magenta, but we don't want to just start in with quin magenta. We're going to grab in some of this gross, dirty kind of brown, and that's going to be the outside petal. We have quin magenta on our brush. I'm going to take the side and paint it in. And you can see that I have a two-tone right there. This time I'm going to add the Quin Magenta, and I think I'm going to add in a little, just a touch of yellow, and I'm going to go right up next to our little wing and then pull it up. There we go. This next time it has to be brighter than this one, and I'm going to put in some of that beautiful color. Well, anyway, I'll add some later. So this time I'm going to add the Quin Magenta and some more of that yellow right along the edge, and you'll see that this time it's a wider petal. And I think I'm going to grab some more of that Quin Magenta and put it right, add a little bit of the white to that too, and right on the edge. Okay, this time we're going to add some Quin Magenta, touch of yellow, and a touch of white. And we're going to go down and we're going to go right up to the edge here and paint like it's a wide petal going in. The reason it's so wide is because this petal is closest to us. It's going to appear wider, and I can see that I want this to have a little yellow on it. So white with a yellow hint. Oh yes, look at those colors. One more time, grabbing some of that Quin Magenta, popping it a little bit more on the top. Oh yeah, look at that. Okay, so now we're going to grab the Quin Magenta and a little bit of white. And we're going to go along this edge and come in to the middle. And I'm going to add some more of that Quin Magenta on the top. Okay, so now let's grab some of this Quin Magenta, make it really dark, and pull it down. And I'm going to add a little bit of the white and put it right on the top. This time I'm going to add a little bit of yellow. And grabbing some of that Quin Magenta right on the end and bring it in the opposite direction. And this needs to be covered by this one. So I'm going to take my brush and pop some color over. This time I'm going to have the muted color. And notice it's going to be scooped each time. So this time I'm going to start higher, like a dancing little petal. There we go. And perhaps we'll have I need a lot of paint on that, so we'll have just a with a touch of blue, really thin one. There's our echinacea. Woohoo! Okay, so now we're going to do the bottom one, and it's going to be really similar. So we're going to pick up some of the darker colors, and I have a dark color, like this gross color, so that needs to be on the outside. So it'll be a thin one coming in, coming towards the middle. Now this time I'm going to pick up a little more of the Quin Magenta, and possibly my brush is, I'll just pick up a little yellow. I'm going to start here in the corner. And I'm going to
pop a little yellow on the top there. So you can see that yellow against the dark. It's kind of cool. And possibly a little bit of white underneath. We'll see how that goes. And that will be a contrast between the next color. So we're going to have our quin magenta this time with a little bit more yellow. And we're going to come off the canvas. I'm going to start on the canvas and push down and then pull it back. And that's going to be a wider petal. And to be a wider petal, we're going to make it a little white. And I'm going to put in a little more quin magenta here at the tip. And a lot more quin magenta here at the tip. Okay, so now I've got a lot of quin magenta on my brush. I'm going to grab some white. And I'm going to start at the top this time, sideways. Get thicker. Get some more white, start at the top, same petal, and get thicker. And I think I like it with a little more white in the petal. And a little more quin magenta on the outside. And I like that. I think I just destroyed my little white line, so I'll put it back in. If I can. And then get some darker pinks in there. I'm not sure what I think of that, but anyway, so let's go to the next one. The next one is going to be a darker pink, and I'm going to have a touch of white on the right side. And I'm going to get that really dark now. And I'm like, maybe that's an overlapping petal, so I didn't intend that, but let's just go with it since that's how it looks. So I'm going to come up here and, oops, glob of paint. Go with that. And yeah. So this time I'm going to grab some yellow and some of that quin magenta. Make it a really wide petal and come swooping in to the center. And I'm going to kind of connect that. Put a little bit of white somewhere in the middle. That's kind of cool. And now I'm going to bring in some of that quin magenta from the bottom and add some dark pop of color at the bottom. Which I didn't quite get because it's very, very wet. So now I'm going to grab in some white and a touch of yellow, see if that goes together. And I'm going to come right along the edge, make another petal. And the next one needs to be a dark petal. So I'm going to come over here. Little pop of color on the end. I've got all this pink. And pop some color right here at the end if I can. And I'd like to do that here at the bottom too. That's cool. Okay, those are our petals. Maybe I will have one more petal over here that kind of comes up. It needs to go a little bit further. And maybe a little bit darker at the bottom part of that because it's, maybe, we'll see how that goes. Okay, so now what do we need to do? We have our petals. So I need to pop in a little bit more color. Yellow, now that it's somewhat dry. And I want some of that quin. So I wipe off my brush, it's too much. So I grab some of that quin magenta and the yellow because it makes an orange. It's a beautiful orange if I don't have blue mixed in. And that is what I'm going to put at the top. That beautiful, beautiful, beautiful orange. Okay, I think I'll have to come back, but I like that orange. I'm getting a little bit of that orange in there. Okay, maybe that's what I can do for now. Okay, now what do we need? Let's see. Oh, we do need to have the butterflies' bodies. So to do that, I'm going to be going ahead and using these colors, mostly blue and quin magenta. I'm going to have a dark purple going again. And when I have a nice dark purple, I'm going to get that black in it, but it's not going to be a perfect black. Adding some water. Because I have the quin magenta and the blue, it won't be a matte black. It will be like a vibrant black. So I'm going to start up here and I'm going to go with this little guy's, and I'm going to go thin line, really thin, push down, lift, push down, lift, push down. And that is his head. I might need to clean that up a little bit, but it looks pretty good to me. So making sure that I have a little bit more water in my brush so these colors flow a little better off of the brush. And now I'm going to start here. There's a light background, so it's perfect for getting the body. Then push down, lift, push down more, and push down, lift. I like it. Again, I'm getting the black, that vibrant black on my brush. And again, I'm getting the flat of my brush, because I made it flat. And then I'm going to come in and lightly touch with the end of my brush. Push down, push down, push down. There we go. And I do want a little more of that dark black at the base. I'll have to do that with my fine liner. Okay, do I need anything else? I think I'm finished with this brush. So now we are going to go to our next brush, next finest brush. And that, I'm going to put a lot of water in that brush and leave it right there so it's not going to mess it up because it still has a lot of water. And this one, it's drying, but because it has water in it, it's not going to mess up my brush. I'm just going to wash it out in a minute. Okay, now, new brush, my script liner. And I'm going to grab some of this black, purple black that I had. I'm going to put that right on the base of my little echinacea bulb. I'm going to try to get in a little bit more of the magenta in that. And I'm going to make that flat, and on the flat I'm going to get some shadow under some of those echinacea petals. So this is the underside of that petal, just along, oh, I just messed up my white line there, ah well. And this one, there's a little bit of a lift. Okay. And a little bit dark edge under that petal. Because this is wet, these colors aren't dirty. So I'm going to get just along the edge of this petal. And under the edge of that one. So here you can see that I'm going to bring down some edges. You know, so the top part is going to be a little bit, you know, like some of the petals come in. Okay, so here there's going to be a little bit of a dark edge under that one, just lightly touching the canvas. I'm not really painting with a lot of dark paint or a wide swath, just some, just to get some contrast here. So getting my brush wet, trying to get some more of that blue in the paint right here. So this has more of a red, this has more of a blue, and that just kind of varies up this dark color that I'm getting at the base of that echinacea bulb. I'm going to add just a bit of more color, and I'll come back and put a little more color there in a minute. And I'm going to do the same over here now. Okay, so now I'm going to come and do the same. I'm going to put in a light shadow under some of these petals. I actually did a pretty good job painting that one with a shadow. And this one is going to have a shadow just on the edge. I don't want to paint dark on these in the foreground just because it'll make the whole flower look dark, but just a little bit. Now I have white there, so I'm going to paint above that white. And it's still wet, so I got a nice blend. Nice. And here I'll paint that back petal. And this will have a little bit of a shadow underneath. Okay, so now I'm going to make the top edge a little bit more, you know, like ragged. You know, like there's petals there, and there's, you know, how the petals meet that bulb. So I'll just add a little bit more, like a blend there between the petal and the bulb. Okay, now I'm going to grab a little bit of black just for some areas, just along the edge. And that's going to be the contrast. You can see that while it was pretty dark before, that definitely this is pretty black. And I don't want to put black on my petals. Okay, grabbing a little bit of that black just for the, just the base. Okay, that's creating quite the contrast. And okay, so what else do we need? I think I'm going to put a little black here at the top of his head. Maybe eyes. Not sure about that. Okay, so I do need to have, we'll do the legs in a minute and the antennas last. So what time is it? Oh, I have 11 more minutes and then our hour is up. So let's speed it up just a bit. So I'm grabbing some yellow just for pops here at the top. We want some pops of yellow. Oops, I have a blob of paint there. I'm going to leave it. Okay, I'm going to need a little more yellow. We might have to put in, oh, that's good. That's nice fresh yellow. Okay, good. And I'll put a little bit of the yellow right at the top. That's really important. Make some nice little, oh, I like the top of this one. It looks really nice. Okay, so I'm going to grab a little bit of white and put it just at the base of some of these bits of white, of yellow, and that's going to pop the yellow even more. Not a lot of white, just a little bit. And it feels like I need more white on the lower part just because the background is green and this looks really beautiful like it is. Okay, so running out of time. Okay, so what do we need to do? We need the stems. So I had to get a little bit more yellow out for those stems. So I have the yellow in my brush and now I've got some green going. So I need to have a stem under this plant, under this flower. And that comes down, we'll have that stem there. And I feel like it needs to be a bit darker. And that stem is going to come down, down, down. There's going to be a little bit here, here, and there. And if there's a stem there, it's going to come up. And possibly there's going to be other leaves. And this is a brighter leaf on top of all the others, which is what we want. And just give the idea that there's something there. And I'm just going to put in some greens now. Just some ideas of textures in the background that might be a little weird. Otherwise, this plant might look weird. It's just a watery mix, and mine is a lemony yellow, so it's not a bright green or anything, so I think that lemony yellow pops in front of all of these other colors that I've got going. Okay, I think grab a little more lemony yellow here, just for a little bit of a stain, just to create a point on that leaf that was looking rather awkward. Now I think I also want to have a little bit of like a leaf coming out of the plant. So I'm going to add a little darker and maybe a little leaf coming out. I don't know why I need that, but I feel like I do. Okay. Okay, there we go. And I like that darker green for the background. Looks better. Running out of time. Okay. I want to cover this green up. It looks funny. There we go. Okay, we need to get our antennas on. So I'm going to grab that purple. Oops, it's getting dry. That purple that we created in the black. And with the flat of my brush, I am going to take that to about here. There we go. I'm going to try to get the next one a little bit thinner. With the flat of my brush. Not going to push down as much. I'm going to try to just touch the canvas lightly. I've got a little antenna mark on that. Okay, that's enough. And with the little, I'm going to make this as thin as possible. Now I'm going to take and make a right angle for the front legs. And I want that little bit thicker. Now when I, yeah, okay. And again. And in the back, it goes the opposite direction. There we go. Now our antennas, I'm going to grab the black this time because we're going to be coloring on top of that pink, which is pretty vibrant. So I have the purpley that I made, and I'm mixing in a lot of the black, making sure that it flows nicely, but it's thick enough that it will be opaque. So I'm going to bring this in, and it's going to meet right there. I wanted to cross that white part. Oh, nice. And I'm going to come over here. just because I can move it better towards me. I'm going to bring it here and I'm going to have that antenna right off there. Nice. I think that's nice. Now this time I need to pull this antenna and I don't want to touch that body. So I'm going to come up a little bit higher and stop about there. So you don't want to have antennas close to the butterfly, you want to have them pretty far away. And I didn't touch, I'm glad. Now let's go over here. And I'm going to come over here and this one's going to go off and I'm going to end it right about there. Okay, what is our time? 59 minutes and whoop, just 1 hour right now. So we are done. Oh, well, I'm going to take another minute to look around. Do I need to put anything else in? I'm just going to sharpen up some of this contrast here. And do I need to, I think the contrast here is looking pretty good. Okay, I'm pretty happy. I'm going to pop in a little bit more contrast at around the base of that little bulby part and right here also. Although for, you know, one stroke painting, that's pretty good. And maybe a little bit more right here on the head. Okay guys, we're done. This is our 1 hour painting, Alla Prima. And so I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm going to pop in a little bit of white right on the top. And we're done. Okay guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this. This is a 1 hour paint. Yeah, I would love to know how yours goes. You could drop me a line and tell me. Okay, we are finished. Let me clean up the mess and then we'll take a nice picture. And guys, if this kind of content appeals to you and you would like to see more animal art, just hit that subscribe and check out my other social media, and I will see you again. Happy painting!